Hello, I'm Brianna, a lead paralegal here at Marble Law. We have guided thousands of clients through their divorces, and we know it can be a very stressful and overwhelming experience. We are so grateful that you have chosen Marble to help us help you get to the other side of your legal journey. Now, while no two family law cases are the same, we hope this video gives you a little bit more insight into what a typical case might look like for you. Let's get started in talking about some legal terminology you're going to be hearing throughout the length of your case in hopes to just give you a little more insight into what we're actually talking about. So let's begin with talking about types of divorces, an uncontested divorce and a contested divorce. So let's start off with uncontested. Uncontested simply means that you and your spouse are in agreement of the terms regarding your divorce, while contested means the opposite, means you and your spouse are not in agreement regarding the terms of your divorce. What happens in contested is the court will help determine the terms of your divorce case. Now, let's talk a little bit more about parties to a divorce case. So you might see that term come up or hear it from your attorney and wonder, what does that mean, parties to a divorce case? It simply means you and your spouse, the petitioner and the respondent. So if you are filing the petition first, that makes you the petitioner and it makes your spouse the respondent. While if your spouse is filing the petition first, that makes them the petitioner and you the respondent. So the major difference there is if you are the petitioner, you will be initiating the petition. So your attorney will be drafting and filing a petition on your behalf. While if your spouse files first, their attorney is doing the same, and that would make you the respondent and you would be filing an answer or response to their petition. So let's talk about how a divorce case is actually initiated. How is everything kickstarted with the court? So in order for everything to kind of begin, a petition has to be filed with the court. So what does that petition do? It formally opens your case with the court, assigns you a case number to your case, and now you have a formalized case on the docket with the court. So you might ask yourself, what does this look like at Marble? What's the process here? So the way it works is you will meet with your attorney and you will go over the terms of your situation with them. You will ask them any questions at that time. And then once they compile all the information that they need on their end, they will begin drafting your pleadings for you. So let's say in this case, you are the petitioner. They would begin drafting the petition or complaint, could be called petition or complaint. They will be drafting everything, all the corresponding pleadings, and they will send to you for your review. When you are reviewing your documents, it's important to make sure all birth dates and names and addresses are all seemingly correct. You would review everything, you would sign if appropriate and necessary, and everything is now formally executed and it will be filed formally with the court. So now that your petition is filed with the court, what do you expect? What's the timeline here? So everything kind of depends on the state. So I'm talking very generally right now, and depending on your state that you live in and the attorney that you're working with, they will be able to give you a little more insight into timeline and kind of what to expect here, because it does vary state to state. But this is just a general idea, just so you kind of get the feel for what we're dealing with and what we typically see on a normal basis. So once the petition, like I said, is drafted and filed with the court formally, the court takes a little bit of time and they will formally accept it onto the docket. So that's when I mentioned that you will have a formal case number assigned to you. And at this time, you will also get your conformed copies. Conformed copies means just a file stamped copy. This is the formal filed pleading in your case rather than just a drafted pleading. After this step, what's next? So the pleadings are accepted on the docket. The next step would be to, depending on your state, likely receive an issued summons back to us. So that means that the clerk was able to review everything, checked it over, signed it, and issued it back to us. So what we do at Marble is we take all of those filed pleadings, all of the conformed copies that I mentioned, and we would send them over to our process server. So let's kind of get into service of process. You might hear that term. That's just a fancy term of saying serving the other party in your case. So let's say in this example we're referring to, let's say that you are the petitioner and we had filed your petition and all corresponding pleadings with the court. They were accepted, we got everything back that we needed, and now we're ready for service of process. So what we'll do at Marble is we'll send all of those documents to our process server and they will begin attempts of service. So that means that the process server themselves will personally go out to the assigned address located on the summons, or it might be called a different document in another state, but your attorney will be able to answer that for you and give you a little more clarity. They will go ahead and formally try and serve the opposing party in your case and physically hand to them the pleadings that were filed on your behalf. So at that point, once the other party in your case is served, depending on your state, again, there will now be a formal response deadline due on their side. So let's say that the petition and all corresponding pleadings were filed on your behalf. We got everything, we sent them out for service. Now we're formally serving the opposing party. They received the documents, they accepted service. What we'll get back is an affidavit of service. This is confirming the formal service of process of the pleadings that were drafted and filed on your behalf to the opposing party in your case. Now, once the opposing party in your case receives everything on their end, what they will do is now they have a set deadline depending on their state. It typically varies between 20 and 30 days. They will have a specific deadline to formally respond and file a response or answer. Same term, just interchangeable words. Response or answer is the same thing. They will have to formally respond to the petition that was filed on your behalf. Okay, so what's next? So the opposing party in your case was formally served. There's a set response deadline due to them for them to file a response back in your case. Depending on the state that they live in, between 20 and 30 days, like I mentioned. What's next? What's coming up for you in your case? So the next step in a divorce case after this part is preliminary disclosures. So that's just a fancy term for the sharing and disclosing of financial information. During this step, your attorney will ask you to provide a variety of financial documents. It's crucial that you provide everything in a timely manner and make sure that you have all information that is accurate on your end. So disclosures can include assets, properties, credit card statements, bank statements, student loans, tax information, things like that. So anything that's personal to you and financial information that you will be required to disclose with the court in your case. So you and the opposing party in your case will both have to do this. We understand that disclosures can feel very personal, but these are crucial for determining how your assets will be divided once your divorce is finalized. So this is a very important and crucial step. Although it feels, very lengthy and very personal, it is something to expect in a typical case. So keep that in mind. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, no two cases are exactly the same. So like each person, every case is individual. So there might be a divorce case that's similar to yours and has similarities regarding, the steps of how the case is moving forward, but it won't be exactly the same because no two people are exactly the same. So you might see some twists and turns in your case, and that is totally normal. We're prepared to help you with anything that comes your way. So to round this all out, once you get through your specific legal journey, as I talked about earlier, you will ultimately end up with a final judgment in your case, which is the last step here. So a final judgment can also be referred to as a final decree. There's sometimes other terms that it's referred as in different states, but typically the most common are final judgment and decree. So please keep in mind that everything we talked about here is a very high-level overview of what a typical family law case looks like. As I mentioned, each case is unique because every situation is different, and lots of terms are always depending on people and different timelines. So please keep in mind this is just a general overview. Some individuals might have to go to court while others might not. So your attorney will be able to guide you through the process and support you accordingly and make sure that they do what's best for your specific case. To round this all out, Marble has supported over 50,000 clients. So we have seen many different types of divorce cases. Our team is here to help you if you have any questions, and we're ready to help you get to the other side.